And we are just a week away from the first Republican debate, a real test for candidates as they get a chance to present their pitch to the country, not just voters in early voting states. It's also a great opportunity for campaigns to reset. And joining us now is Carly Atchison, spokeswoman for the Ron DeSantis campaign. So, Carly, thank you so much for being here. Looking forward to this conversation. Wanted to start with these latest charges against former President Donald Trump. So he's currently the front runner, as you know, for the Republican presidential nomination. Does the governor have any thoughts on these charges Trump is facing, as well as the other 18 co-defendants in this case?
Well, look, I haven't spoken to Governor DeSantis yet about these latest indictments, but what I will say is this. Ron DeSantis, as governor of Florida, has actually removed 2 politically motivated prosecutors. And we need to have a system of justice in this country that is blind. And to do that, we need to have a president of the United States who has a proven track record of actually getting things done. Ron DeSantis is the only candidate in this race who has a track record of actually doing something about these politically motivated prosecutors.
So the first Republican debate is scheduled for August 23rd, a week from tomorrow. Just to confirm, the governor will be there. Does he think that the former president should be there as well?
He does. Look, we think all candidates should participate. We think the American people deserve that. But it's not going to change our strategy going into debate night. And what you're going to see and what you're going to hear is an energetic Ron DeSantis presenting his forward-looking vision for the country, presenting a plan to actually get our economy back on track, actually secure the border, unleash domestic energy production. And again, he's the only candidate who's actually done these things in the state of Florida as governor. But what you're also going to see is every candidate on that stage and even those on the sidelines coming after Ron DeSantis. Why is that? It's because they know he is the guy to beat. He's had the most money spent against him so far this cycle, well above $20 million. That's more than Trump and Biden combined. And there's a reason for that. He is the guy to beat. He's everybody's biggest competitor on that stage and off of it. That's why they're all coming after him. And we can expect to have the knives out on debate night.
So, Carly, there have been rumblings that the governor is having a hard time connecting on a more personal level with voters. Will we see a more intimate side of the governor during these debates?
Well, first, I just want to refute that likability premise. You saw Governor DeSantis in Iowa all week last week, shaking hands. He was there with his family, his beautiful wife, Casey, their 3 kids. And look at these events, these small, intimate events in Iowa the governor is having. People walk away with a different impression than what the national media narrative is right now. Again, everybody coming after Ron DeSantis now attacking his personality. It's probably because they can't be attacking his record because he has the strongest one. So that would be my answer to that. And again, the kind of ground and work we're doing in Iowa is really important. And so, again, Ron DeSantis has visited 38 out of 99 counties there. He's going to continue to put the work in Iowa, South Carolina, and New Hampshire. That's what's going to make the difference at the end of the day.
So, as you know, we held a town hall last night with Vivek Ramaswamy. He's continued to slowly climb in the polls, and a number of them show him sitting in a solid 3rd place behind Governor DeSantis. He spoke last night about his ability to bring the country together. If you don't mind, we'll listen to this quick clip and then come back with a question.
We're skating on thin ice as a country now. I do not want to see us march to some national divorce. I want to lead us to a national revival. The first and most important catalyst to do that is a landslide election in 2024. This cannot be another 50.1 election. It just can't. I think I am the only candidate in the Republican field who can actually deliver that landslide because we are bringing young people with us in droves. I'm the youngest person ever to run for U.S. president in the Republican Party.
So he is obviously doing a lot to rally that young vote. Does the governor agree that young people are vital to this election? And do you think he's doing enough to get their vote?
Well, first, I'd just like to point out that Ron DeSantis is somebody who won by 20 points in the state of Florida. Florida used to be a purple swing state. It's now a solidly red state. So if you want to talk about somebody who has the track record of bringing people together and winning elections, there's one candidate who's done that already. That's Ron DeSantis. And again, all of these people attacking Ron DeSantis, it's because they know he's the guy to beat. When you talk about energy and the executive, somebody who's going to go in there and get things done, at the end of the day, people want a president of the United States who's going to make their lives better. What we're hearing on the ground from Iowans and people in South Carolina and New Hampshire is, how are you going to make housing more affordable? How are you going to turn this economy around? And Governor DeSantis is the only candidate in this race, again, with a track record of actually doing that.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.